Hello, welcome to the Zero Ends channel. Please like and subscribe. Please enjoy our live.
Zero ends. Hey, what's good, guys? Zero ends here. It's been a while since I did a particular live stream on the Zero Ends channel. If you're new to Zero Ends, welcome to Zero Ends. You know the deal. You hit the like button, the share button, and subscribe to Zero Ends channel as well. You know, likes and shares, and I guess subscription is free. Last time I checked. Oh, I do have a TikTok for Zero Ends. I will post that in the chat room. Now, from what I'm hearing about TikTok, I don't like TikTok per se because I've noticed with TikTok and many other social media outlets that it's really run not only by the Asians, but they have a certain base algorithm that only tailors to certain behaviors. And for people that don't know, these behaviors are legit. And truly, and really truly, the premise, because this is one of the last days of what they call Black History Month. A lot of things, a lot of activity has happened. And some that, I'm sitting back and observing what's going on here. And there are some things that has not been discussed. Really, truly, Black History Month, as we know it, as its inception and its existence, is no more than just nigga history. That I'm unfortunate. I don't want to say this. Most majority black folks don't really care much. And my thing is this, that the one Karachi Wushin that helped establish Black History Month decades ago, when it was started off as a week, now became an actual whole month, I commend him. I give him a lot of praise. But overall, when we look at the dynamics of today's Negroid or Black folks, it's not really much of any significance in the 21st century. I don't think there's much significance in the last century, even going on this century. Because with a history like this, you think Black folks will be much more progressive and not only take pride in the history that they help and flourish and nourish that the world consumes, but really move beyond. And I mean beyond the history to what Black people should be doing and what they need to do now to be in a more better, prosperous situation, regardless all the odds are against them. And personally, I am the believer that what was left could always be better than what we could do now. Now, I'm looking through some things. And I'm trying to find the video. I'm going to share a particular video that caught my attention. And I'm looking through this particular book. And I have two books that deal with Black inventors in general. And for some reason, I don't see it here in this book. And I'm looking good at this book right now to see if I can find it. And midwife, the oldest surgeons, effect bandage, ancient antibiotics, prehistoric needles. I'm scanning through this. And the reason why I'm doing this broadcast because I want to put a caveat to the last day of Black History Month. And I'm going to really go in and be honest with the future of where Black people are going to be and where they're heading, personally, from my examination. And I'm looking at this book carefully. And it looks like this book does not go into that. It got some good pictures from things the guy Googled and probably found some books pages, but most of the stuff looks like he Googled this stuff to make this book. Not surprised. He did not really mention the thing about flying, which I find it ironic. Oh, flying machines. Okay, here it is. So let me see if this book talks about flying machines on page 45. And I'm looking at it now. Flying machines. Okay. I'm going to read a section and I'm going to play a video. And yes, I got to do some reading here. Because I want to send context to the bigger argument to what I discovered. What's good, information man? How all is well. If you want to come up, I'll put the link for anybody to want to come up because this is very important. All right. And please share the stream if you're watching in the building. Flying machines. Myth of writing historical across the world have mentioned flying vehicles for thousands of years. Many ancient murals and wall reliefs show what looks like modern technology, including airplanes and rockets. Across the ancient world, especially in Egypt, Peru, and Colombia, models of gliders, unlike birds, suggest our ancestors understood the basics of flight and aerodynamics. And when I mean aerodynamics, that means that when people look at flying, they think only flying really came in existence after 1870s. But that's a lie. The one black man I'm gonna play right now, and I gotta play it, it's very important because I came across this. And like many folks, black folks in general, we have an assumption and belief that you do not do enough, you don't contribute enough in society, etc., etc., etc. That is unfortunately false. And not only was false, they hide good portions of the people or the few black people that first came up with the concept, patent the concept, and it never was recognized. For what reason? Let me keep reading. Ancient myths tell of gods and mortals who could travel at terrific speeds and even leave the earth. In India, they are called what they call nomadics. Let me see, that's what it says. What they call Vimatics. I think that's how it's pronounced it. And were supposed to have used advanced technologies to move. Indian sculptures said these Vimias or Vimenes could travel from country to country, continent to continent, and plant to plant. According to the records that discovered their construction, some were small crafts, while others were large enough to hold thousands of occupants. Even King Solomon is said to have traveled to see the Queen of Sheba in Ethiopia on a flying Merkaba. That's a plane. Merkaba. And I will look at ChatGPT to verify this. Other sculptures mention airships and starships long before modern airplanes were known. How much of these was true? How much was imagination? We'll explore these topics deep in science of creation in it as we ask. And as I'm scrolling through this, I don't see nothing else in this book. And make sure. No. That's pretty much it. And the rest of the time, my style. And the book I read from y'all is called Black People Invent Everything by Dr. Sojin Kumar Das, founder of Sojournary Institutions. I don't know if it's a Black history thing, but anyway. You can pick up that book for yourself. The book came out 2 years ago. Anyhow, and it's self-published from what I'm looking at. But anyway, so now the video I'm about to play to lay the claim of the flying innovation and some of the things that were even taking place when flying really made more possible was during the 1800s. So no further ado, I'm going to run the videotape with commentary. Fair use, fair use.
Dragonfly.
The story goes that he would watch those things in flight for hours at a time, and I assume that it's where he got his inspiration to build an airship.
Joseph Page is talking about his grandfather, Charles Page, a farmer and timberman in Pineville, Louisiana.
Now, mind you, for those that's watching this, that we heard about the Wright brothers, and the only thing that was given credit for the last, when was the Wright? Let me check the date when the Wright brothers, with their invention came around. The first airplane. Now it says here 1903, Wright's Flyers. And a brief description by Wilbur and Orville Wright spent 4 years researching and developing to create the first successful power airplane in 1903. That's what they said it was them. Now that's what it said in history books back in the earlier 20th century. And that's really 1903. So we're looking at roughly 121 years ago. Long time. And when the first plane was invented, Wright brothers invented the airplane starting in 1903, right? Truly changed the world. Imagining what the new world would be like began as soon as the first plane took to the air in the early 1900s. So they say. Now, that's just what I found from Google. And like I said, I never really go into who invented everything else because to my assumptions and my notions from what I'm noticing now from finding books and knowing a little bit more about world history and history in general, that Black people, especially Black men, come up with a lot of stuff. Some credit is never given, even to the point they even go as far as steal it and destroy it. But on regards to Charles Page, this guy was well known and had a patent almost, if my math was right, almost 39 years ago. But let's keep listening. Grace.
Granddaughter Katie Page Williams heard the same story.
At an early age, I was told that he had this invention, the airship or airplane.
The year was 1903, when Charles Page turned his inspiration from a flying insect into an airship. It was about the same time that the Wright brothers were taking flight with their airplane. Page got a patent for his airship in 1906, before the Wright brothers. But Page's story takes an unusual turn. He planned to enter his airship in a competition for a $100,000 prize at the
1906, or I think it's 1906 or 18. Let me go back. I don't know what year they said it was. Let's go back.
Unusual turn. He planned to enter his airship in a competition for Page's story takes an unusual turn. He planned to enter his airship in a plane. Page got a patent for his airship in 1906, before the Wright brothers. But Page...
This said it was 1906. And what Google said was 1903, but they said otherwise. So we always got to question what timeline really the patent was. But let's listen to more.
Page's story takes an unusual turn. He planned to enter his airship in a competition for a $100,000 prize at the 1904 Louisiana Purchase Exposition in St. Louis.
He took his life savings. He built a working model, tested it at his home in Pineville, and then shipped it off by train to St. Louis, Missouri, where he was going to fly the airplane in St. Louis, Missouri, and then become a chapter in all of our history books.
But the aircraft never arrived at the World's Fair.
His plane was destroyed or stolen, possibly due to the fact he was an African American.
I think that...
Stolen! Destroyed or stolen. So this man created something of maybe greater value that worked and did not even got the opportunity to be presented in front of the same conference to show who had the actual invention or a more better performing invention. Because think about it, it's not just creating the invention will get you. It is not only create, but how useful is it? How effective is it? The design, how quick, how stealthy, the appearance, everything. Because once you patent an invention and it really works, it's going to be used and consumed throughout the whole Western world outside America. For everybody else to replicate and make of their own or take certain innovative ideals from what was already created. Keep that in mind. Let's keep listening.
Because he was a black man who had the audacity to try something that had never been done before, is probably one of the reasons why the model disappeared and the history was never corrected to show that.
Writer and amateur historian Michael Wynn is trying to rewrite a missing part of aviation history. He's collected new...
Now I'm looking at this here. First made application for the patent April 24 of 1903 and has now secured U.S. patent, which was issued to him April 10th. So he already created the invention years ago. And then he didn't get the official patent until 3 years later. Do you hear me? After 3 years later. During the same time, from what Wikipedia or Google said, and I to write flyers. Now, I'm not sure when it first fly off. And let me see if it gives a date. And there's a 3D model of it. I'm looking at it overall. Oh, it was flew in Kent Height, North Carolina on December 17th, 1903. This is December. So if he patented in April 1903, and then they didn't really put out until 3 years later, this guy already has something working, flying already. So how much y'all want to bet that someone took what he created? Potentially, let's say it could be the Wright brothers. Let's say we can go there. We can go there because your thing didn't really come around till almost the end of 1903. So what were you doing before 1903? Because if you had something working, why did this black man's invention that was patented the same year and then 3 years later did not get patent off? Something happened to the machine. The math ain't mathing. I'm just saying. But let's keep listening.
Newspaper stories, drawings of the airship, and Page's 1906 patent.
Charles Frederick Page's airplane was somewhat primitive compared to the Wright brothers. It did have its own engine for horizontal movement, but it actually relied mainly on balloons and was called an airship.
There is no record of Charles Page ever building another airship, but there is a renewed effort in the city of Pineville to publicly recognize his achievements.
There are things that you...
Yeah, but if it was not so effective, why did they destroy and took his plane? It was so primitive. Why he was not put out in the market the same time to test if it really was effective? That should be the question you should be asking. That should be the question we should be asking ourselves, gentlemen. That should be the question we should be asking. Because it was so primitive, what you did with it. I'm just saying. Because it does not make sense to me. You made an invention, and the invention did not even get put forth. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. So let's keep playing this video.
didn't talk about back in that day, back at that time, unfortunately.
So fast forward to where we are today. You're anxious to give some recognition to Mr. Page. Why is that?
The issue is making people understand, you know, that this individual, Mr. Page, actually did something that he was never recognized for, and you know, this community was not recognized for because of him.
I really often wish I had known him, because I think our generation could have learned a lot from him.
Even Charles Page's final resting place in
See that? They only did this to give the man his dues. And it's commendable because I did not know about this. A lot of people did not know about this. When we hear about things that's invented, the first thing that comes to mind is black folks. We mostly think about someone that's non-black that come up with a lot of stuff, personally. And really, truly, we have a vast history, a lot of things. A vast history. So let me see how much more in this video.
Pineville has been covered up with bricks and concrete in an unmarked family crypt. Buried here is a man who was fascinated with flying, and he figured out a way to do it. With the heart of Louisiana, Dave McNamara.
All right, that's it. That's it. And like I said, the purpose of doing that and reading the section of the Black People Inventors to give context is that you came up with a lot of things. And one thing is evident, that the things that we consume today, and I could say this with a clear conscience, if they didn't know what happened to his plane that he designed back in the early 20th century, rather they said it was destroyed or was missing, I could probably assume that someone took it and retweak it to make work a better model for what they're trying to do, to make what is called the perfect plane, first time plane for the world to see. Because if these people made a plane, why is it ironic this guy patented in 1903 in April, and then we hear the Wright brothers were able to get a working plane flying off the air by the end of that year? I'm just saying, guys. I mean, it's very fishy. It is very fishy to me. I mean, I'm not no conspiracy theorist, but a lot of people be stealing a lot of stuff from Black folks. And really, truly, right there, it explains it all. That, yeah, it's evident, yeah, someone did potentially stole it. And not only stole it, but they took it as their own. So, really, truly, if you did not know, you know now. So, shout out to Charles Page, rest in heaven, power. I mean, what you contribute will never be lost now. We now know now. And we could probably say that even in regards to flying, even the so-called non-blacks were not innovators of that. And I've solely believe with a surefire doubt that everything that you consume, there's always a Black person behind it for someone else to steal and use as their own. Like literally, use as their own. And really, truly, guys, I only say this because we had to be clear and honest here. Nothing on earth, you do not create an event that someone is using and taking advantage now. Yeah. So let me do this. Kind of didn't really open it. I did open the link for people to come up. Before I shift gears, for those that will watch the replay, please leave a comment at the end of this video and like the stream. And I want to hear from y'all to get y'all take on a lot of things. Oh, damn. Wrong one. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to find the thing I linked. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Where is that? So one thing I do want to say, to shift gears, why I think Black people don't appreciate any form of their history, even to the point that we look at the future of Black folks, that without people's history, you don't have no roots to stand on. Matter of fact, the history keeps you, knowing what you contribute, what you are doing, and what you should be doing, and what the future holds present to not only yourself as a Black person, man, woman, but to your children that don't understand or have any appreciation of what their contribution to the world. And I've always been a proponent that Black folks in general should have a more clear understanding of their contribution to the world, to the point that it's not over yet and there's still more works to be done. I mean, you think what's really trending right now, besides doing what we should be doing, is we fight and go back with each other constantly. And we go back and forth with each other because, let's be honest, we don't really like each other. Because self-hatred, as we know, is epigenetically within the Negro today. And it's going to take a lot to remove that epigenetic side of us that make us think and operate today. One thing knowing about actual history, not just our history, but world history in our place, is to have more respect and more of a working model that there we do some, we achieve, and we have conscious things, and that there's still more things to be done. To the point that we are not there where we're at the promised land as a whole, especially in America, that there's still a long way to go. A long way to go. I think one thing Black people should strive and do, besides the economic side of things, is we have to make sacrifice of in regards to the unionship of what we should be doing role-wise, and stick with a simple plan to hold better within the union and what we want out of our children. Hold on. I think one thing Black people should be doing better, besides AFS, the gender fight and gender war. I know what it is. And I know what is real end game with a lot of us. It's, to be personally honest, it is another form of we have to make money. And the only way we see ourselves making money, besides making the proper way, we like to bang out with each other. Sorry to say that, but it comes with the territory. If we're not fighting amongst each other to make a coin, it don't make sense. Overall. Will we ever get tired of banging each other and point fingers of what one person's fault or what one should be doing, and one should be the one taking the blame? In my opinion, I don't think so. I just don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so, because it makes us feel well to go back and forth with each other. Imagine this, guys. And I've noticed this. And I'm going to rant a little bit. Have you noticed when people do content, whether some content that is better the mind, better you spiritually, or better you in generally, that it will help stimulate where it gives more a better impression, it never gets really recognized or much play at all here on the YouTube? You ever notice that? You're doing content that is, let's say, innovative, that maybe solve problems, and in return, you don't think it's solving problems, and the meat is not designed to solve problems. And we talk about YouTube, and we talk about Black folks in general, because a lot of Black people are on YouTube making little coins and putting content on this website. Yes, it says it is intention is to make and give out content to solve problems, but we always ask, solve problems to who and solve problems to what? Because we talking about Black folks, we want to solve our own problems at the end of the day. And let's be fair, honest. A lot of Black people are not in the business of solving each other's problems. They're not in the business of solving problems to a point where they always ask it, what is the solution? What is the solution? What is the solution? I'll tell you what the solution. There is no solution. There's only absolute trade-offs. And the trade-offs that most people want, they're not going to like. Matter of fact, I think most people today were anticipating that only one person should be solution-oriented while others sit back and just chill. No, this is going to be a collective effort, because not one person is going to try to initiate a solution and hopefully carry out while everybody sit back and hope that it works out. If you're that person, then I think you need to stop talking about Black folks in general. You need to stop talking about Black folks. Yeah, you need to. You probably need to. And I'm not saying it's being me, but I'm keeping it real honest, because Black folks today are not in the business of solving problems. They like to complain about problems, but will not waste time to solve problems. And as is kind of nice, I'm going to say it, you know. I think my biggest plight or gripe about Black folks is that when it comes to solution-based oriented problems, because we could talk about issues about the male and female dynamic all day, every day. But unless you're carrying out how to resolve these things and resolve in a timely and more effective manner, Black people nowhere to be found, you know, person. They're nowhere to be found. YouTube today, as it stands, is a media outlet for foolishness and buffoonery and solving mediocre problems, to be fair, honest with y'all. And be honest with you, I mean, I'm not in business solving mediocre problems. You know, if we're going to solve problems, solve the problem as a whole. And for those who want to come up, links in the chat room. You should be solving your problems. Black history is just as what it is. It's something to go back and reminisce of what you have done, what you have contributed, not only in America, but in the Western world. And really, it should be a point where you are at the point, not enough as a people, men and women, but just enough of us to really start to be more and more innovative, to the point we are at a point now where, as time progresses, the Black race, as we know it, is very much in a problematic, worry situation in regards where we're going. And one of the few things we're more concerned, besides the money aspects, which I think when it's talking about the wealth aspects of Black folks, let's be honest, they brought you, they nourished you to make you a permanent underclass for all good reasons. That's not going to change anytime soon. So don't think that you being getting money up enough or by your lonesome that's gonna be enough. No, you need to do more. But I'm gonna pause right here. I'm gonna bring one guest up here. Shatterstar Games. What's good? All right, I see you guys mic on.
Yo, can you hear me, bro?
Yes, welcome to Zero Inch channel. Welcome. To give a recap, I talked about earlier about Black inventors briefly in the stream, and also I've discovered a particular Black gentleman from, I think, from Louisiana, that was one of the few that actually not inspired, but actually made a flying plane that was never talked about much, as scrubbed under the rug under history books. And I'm not sure when this video was posted. I think it was posted, like, when it was posted, maybe 6-7 years ago. So it's been not that long. It was something recent. And they always talk about these non-Blacks creating and innovating a lot of things, including flying planes, which I thought too until I came across this. And let you know that these are things that is slowly unraveling as history progress, and how we as society, as especially race people, progress, that we find more and more under this rabbit hole of what our actual contribution is, and really what we should be doing moving forward. So that's just a background of things. From what I said, what is your overall take on it? So if you didn't know about this, you now know. Okay.
Yeah, brother. I've been informed on a couple of things that was, well, since we're in the leap year, right? And we still got one more day of of Black History Month, right? The shortest month.
No, it's today's last day.
All right, so today's the last day, right? So with saying that, a lot of times you look at brothers like Garrett Morgan, right? Benjamin Banneker, you know what I'm saying? We can look at some of these brothers who we know who have definitely had a big impact, and they was getting in patents back in the days where it was hard enough to vote, but imagine getting a patent. And then the free man system and what state you was in to even get a patent before the folks stole it from you, right?
Yep.
So when we talk about brothers like you was just speaking on my brother, let me get his name.
Charles Page.
Yeah, it's the Charles Page, right? And I had heard about him, and it was a lot basically like of conjecture, because they, you can say who makes, and when you invent stuff, people can say, this person had it first, this person had it first. But when you steal it and people actually allow you to, steal someone else's patent because he's a brother, and back in them days, they still do it today, but it was even worse, imagine back then, right? You could barely even, so back in the man was born 1864, born a slave, and then in 1898 he created an airplane, previous to the designs that Wilbur and the Wright brothers did. You know what I'm saying? But it's very rarely talked about, even in some of the Black history. They don't even. We should know these people's names, and I feel bad for not knowing his name off the most. I heard about him, but I'm glad you brought him up because Brother Charles, he did that. He should be on that same level as a Benjamin Banneker or a Garrett Morgan, because these are the type of people that was our ancestors that came up with these things that were stolen. Even Eli Whitney, still in the gin, a Black man came up with the cotton gin. You know what I'm saying? Because we was tired of we was tired of doing this stuff. We figured out a way to do it easier. Did he get the patent? No, because obviously he was a sharecropper or a slave at the worst, and sharecropper at the best. He could never get the patent for that. Whoever was the person that was in charge of his plantation, of course he's going to patent that. And if we let's go back to their thing, we can go back to these people who have made these millions and millions. So of course we were set up to fail. You know what I'm saying? But now that we're in the modern era, I agree with you. I hear what you said. You're right. Brother, we should be more on the level of, hey, let's try to work together and get something going. The mediocre problems, we can solve mediocre problems with some of this stuff, just doing solo, and how we can see how the Black, we can call it the Black YouTube, I guess, how they move. You feel what I'm saying? So, either it's, some type of beef, we got to be politics with everything. So eventually the ground swelling of brothers who would actually put forth work and effort and put forth capital to help other people come up in the situation, we don't seem to be able to get a ground swelling on that. What do you think is a cause of that? And what do you think that we can do, since you said something about it, to what are some of your ideas of how we could kind of stem the tide on that type of thinking?
The cause for why we still operate in a more individual mindset, because one, America pushes individualism as a whole, and people don't understand, people that come from this country or are already here, they do not operate or move individually. Right? They see or they think that's what it is. It's not. The problem with Black folks overall is we refuse to revert and remove not only the mental stigmas or the self-hatred stigmas that we place ourselves in by choice, but we do not try to remove the epigenetics. Now, epigenetics, I mean, that's some more deep, that's embedded genetically through the blood and also things, in your genes. But like anything, you could always rewrite and rewire your whole entire aura and your whole genome by doing different things and constantly doing it, and set your mind with action to revert that. And what I mean by this, when you hear people that got illness like sugar problems, diabetes, cancers, also, or things that say that is they consider hereditary. If you look back really truly, nothing is really embedded genetically. Heredity. The only thing that's hereditary is the lifestyle, what you do. So, like, one thing, to reverse things, you have to stop doing certain things, and not only you do it, but you force and train yourself. Go ahead.
nature. So you're saying it's like the nature and the nurture argument, right? So
It's beyond nature nurture. It is something that we're aware of. We complain about on an everyday basis. We know it's consistent from not only, let's say, myself or yourself, but in general, when we see it in real time, you hear people talk about why black people always constantly fighting, bickering with each other, doing things, harming each other, even to the point they refuse to spend money with each other because that is embedded with you genetically, psychologically, and epigenetically now. You get me?
But
so
I think
go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that what I was saying with the nature and nurture, I believe that we can expound on what you just said, but hear me out.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, between the nature and nurture, what I mean when I asked that, do you think it was nature or nurture? Because think about it. Okay, like you said, the hereditary things, and that was a good point you brought up. Okay, so now, all right, you can say, you got a lot of people, and even some of these health people, and these medical people and people that's these experts, they say, well, it's DNA. So what they would ask you, they would ask you, even when you go to the hospital or you go to your primary care doctor, they may ask you, hey, this is the first time they encounter with you. Hey, is there any history of, cancer or any history of diabetes or hypertension or mental illness in your family, right? So if you tell them yes, well, in their way that they're supposed to do it it's everything with computers now. So they type it in, this and that, and then the computer spits out, well, hey, then you maybe, in the future would have a higher propensity to be with dementia if they just say anything. But like you say, what I say with the nurture is, okay, if you stop eating that diet that was inherited, not the fact that you inherited the diabetes from, but you inherited the diet. And you see that the diet was not very good for your ancestors. So you try to fix the diet. Well, in 50 to more percent of the cases, if you fix your diet and then you eat foods, you know what I'm saying? Now, some people got endocrine disruptors, and some people just, got genetic really main problems. I think that's true. But as far as the multitude of people, the average person ain't got that. The average person just eats too much fast food. They just eat. They don't work out. They don't do certain things. So if you're a sedentary person and you eat a bad diet, okay, and your granddaddy smoked a pack of Newports every day. Well, if you smoke a pack of Newports every day, you might get the same cancer as granddaddy because you smoked the cigarettes. Or if you ate ham hocks and chitlins every damn day and fried chicken, you might get diabetes if you eat, you don't drink nothing but soda and eat ice cream and sit all day. When you get to 30 years old, you might get colon cancer, and you might get it because you're inheriting, like you said, that same diet. We have to change the type of things that we do before we just say, oh, it's inherited. So now you just automatically relegated to have this disease because your uncle had it. But if he didn't eat all that, them chitlins and that fried chicken, he probably wouldn't have had it. Or if he didn't smoke all them cigarettes every damn day, he might not have got cancer. But they're not going to tell you that because they want to sell you a treatment plan for that, and it costs money. That's called the medical system.
Yeah. If you think about it, the reason I'm laying out my claim about what you said earlier in regards to what led us to this point is because I have to look at things in this as a whole. Okay, DOD, I see you. Okay. And when I look at things as a whole, I had to look at saying, like anything, you're going to have to will yourself to reverse it. Another thing I do want to add on, you hear about this thing about generation curse, right? You hear these Negroes talking about generational curse, right?
Yeah, I hear that from boomers. I hear that from Gen X. I hear Gen Z. It's definitely an embedded term.
You don't hear some millennials? Only Gen Zs, Gen Xers, and
No, millennials too. But they got the millennial, Gen X. Where they say that 80 or whatever. But
well, usually at the 80s, we fall under millennials more often than not, regardless what point the 80s. And up to mid 90s, next generation will be Gen Z. So I keep it simple.
But I hear with the millennials too. You know what I'm saying? I hear with the millennials too.
Yeah. So
Do you think it's a curse, or most of these people don't believe in any religion? So the fact to say a curse would be almost metaphysical, spiritual, right? So if it's a curse, right? Because most of these people is atheists or agnostic, or they all over the place with their religion. So to call that you gotta first believe in the metaphysical or the spiritual in that level, I don't think it's a generational curse. What I think that generational wealth does exist, and yet, the other people got ahead of us on it a lot faster, used a lot of our inventions, like you was talking about earlier, took our patents, stole our work first, and then they stole our mind second.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And once they got all that, you know what I'm saying, it was able to get over. But now we in modern society. Now they have given us a lot of the well-to-dos the big bread, and they kind of then figured it out. Like, well, it's a rat race now, so most of these people ain't gonna work together. And that's where we can affect it. That's why I was asking you, what do you think we can do to affect it? We can do the opposite of what they are trying to do to us, and then work with each other. You feel what I'm saying? And that's how we will break the so-called generational curse. We have to work with each other. Hey, you know what? I might not like everything people do in Alabama or in Alaska or, in Rhode Island, but there's brothers there that's making a good thing. We can still be, working together as a conglomeration. So, you got a service. We ain't talking about giving no money for nobody that ain't trying to do nothing. If you got a service and then you can do it better than the next person, well, guess what? I'm going to give you a first look at it, and I'm going to go ahead and spend my money with you first before I go somewhere else. That's a start. That's a start right there. You know what I'm saying? I got to commend you because you do that. I do that the same way. You know what I'm saying? There's a service that you can provide. I'm going to pay you for the service that I can provide. You're going to pay me. And we just kind of like move that along to more brothers. I think that right there is a solution to some of it. But on the main point of why we can't, you look at some of the ones who have come up and you start to see, well, where does the money go? Where does the money go, Chaos? That's what I ask. I got some friends of mine was in school with in my town that's the mayors of the town now. You know what I mean? That's like, high level and different things like that. You would think, okay, it's a change gonna come. But for some reason, bro, it seemed like it gets worse with that. Not only with the money, but now you're in politics. So now you can take the tax money and then you can screw over your electorate, and then people still vote for you. I think that right there is a big problem as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a big problem. But to my knowledge, that's the only I see fit to correct in that side of the constant how you could say Negro thinking, Negro operating way of mentality or action that Black people exhibit constantly, in regards what things we could do to really actually fix it and turn things around, where we can come out and instead of on the bottom to slowly get ourselves up to the middle, to maybe, if things play right, back on top of things. One thing I will say this, besides the epigenetic side of things, I'll repeat this again. Black folks, men, including women, you have to will yourself to really remove curses, if there's any. I don't really succumb to curse, because curse means someone has put you under a serious spell, and it's going to take someone to really uncurse you. And when I hear about this thing about generational curse from most Negroes overall, is the money aspect. So I will say, in our culture, if you have not changed the way how you move as a person, how you think as a person, and how you operate towards others, especially when you're own, you're never going to remove that aspect enough to really say you got to focus on money. Because how you think and move and how you see yourself, money is going to either come or is going to eventually go. And depending how you operate in all the aspects, mentally, spiritually, it could even potentially destroy you. And we've seen it destroy countless people that made a lot of money, but they were not better. They were more demoralized. They had more problems. they even go as far as destroying themselves. So we had to look at the aspect. We had to deal with things in a more of a mental, personal, and a direction where you will do this and you will do this by any means necessary, including always constantly remind yourself when you go out in front of the world that you are as one and as one of a person. And know what I'm saying? I will not move and operate under my slave mentality or narrative, and I will not have no hatred or shame towards my own. Even to the point that someone might be will do things to me, I will look at them, I will handle accordingly, keep a distance, but still respect them. You get me? Until black men, black women get to that point and move in the chorus, they're always going to be not only unfortunately cursed, but they're always going to keep moving like mindless slaves out here without no actual purpose and actual direction. And I'm a proponent that you're going to have to remove the epigenetics embedded in you now genetically and psychologically to really accomplish what you're trying to achieve. And every black person is not just a small person, but just enough. And when I mean just enough, I mean more than, I would say, a quarter will be good, 50% will be perfect. I don't expect every person to be on a course because you never get 80 or 90 or close to 100% of everybody on boards. I want black people to get out of that thinking. As I'm speaking, the voice of my, you hear my voice, that you want to get everybody in all accords. You look for everybody. I hear this story constantly for years, even decades. It probably been going on long before you and me were born, bro. And I'm thinking that's not a workable solution. You work within yourself if you have any flaws or anything epigenetically or what we call slave-like in action and mentality, not only toward yourself, how you move, but towards others in your group. You got to correct that first. And eventually those that think like you, hopefully, or move like you, hopefully, you could deal with and probably make more of a connection and network, move forward. Other than that, if you're around Negroes that think and operate the same and want nothing better from not only themselves, but you as a person, they're always going to lead you down the rabbit hole. Hell, they're going to keep pulling you down the barrel, like the crabs. Crabs and barrels are there for a reason. They think and operate like the group. And like the group, they don't see anything of promise or progression. If one could do it, we think others could do it, and we try to work hard to get there or help pull one in so they could help pull up the flock.
I'm gonna give you one good one, bro. I'm gonna give you one good one. Now, check this out. We let's say, all right, hypothetically, all right, we got a strong group, right? It's a closed group, you know what I'm saying? A lot of big groups don't have a lot of chiefs. Some of them do, some of them don't. But it's a chain of command. Let's just say it was a chain of command, and let's just say, on the chain of command, let's just say the colonel, let's do it like the army. You know what I'm saying? The colonel, he like OG, the general, he super OG. So let's just say colonel, and then you got your sergeant majors, you got your lieutenant colonels, you know what I'm saying? Let's just say, you got your first sergeant and shit like that. So, let's just say down up in there, we got us. And let's just say me and you. Let's just say we was at the rank of lieutenants. Let's just say we some butterball lieutenants. But I got sergeants underneath me, and I got men that the sergeants got underneath them. So I'm gonna look at some of these brothers. I got a couple of them. Yeah, they ain't do so good on the let's just say they didn't do so good on the written test or the trigonometry, and they're not engineers. They're infantrymen. That's what they do good. But guess what? It's one of these infantrymen that's got a plan and a way to make a better gun or make a better grenade. Or whatever, right? But he don't read too well. But he fight his ass off, and that nigga survives. He always come back. You know what? I'm gonna put him off to the side. Yeah, he ain't got all the money. Yeah, my morals and what I do might not match up with what he do, but that does not matter. Okay, because he is good at what he's doing. So I'm going to allocate funds to make sure that we get this. Now we got this new grenade. This is the Mark 25. You know what I'm saying? And this motherfucker is getting casualties every time we deploy. We get 2.5 casualties off that son bitch on average, and he made it. And you know what? Guess what? Now he's a sergeant because we gonna promote him. Because at first though, we just thought he was slow, but he's not slow at all. He's great at what he does. You have to determine and find out who those people are. Because as we work with other people, we don't want to bring in people who's going to bring down the crew. So we got to be able to not only associate ourselves with the ones that's already up at our level, but we have to go down deep into the roster, man, the depth chart, man. We got some brothers there that's in certain positions that can actually do great things, but we have to be able to recognize leaders. We have to recognize those that can. They just need a little, recognition. Okay, I seen you doing something. That's part as a leader. This person is, I can't do that, but he's great at doing it. Hey, you know what? He's not on our level. Let's bring him up to speed. And I think if we did that more, and focus that into more of our discussions and also our putting stuff together, I think that would help out. Like I was saying earlier, like what is the solution? That'll be a part of the solution right there. We got to go out there and, I reach out to brothers all the time, man. And it ain't even about subscriber counts or views, chaos or nothing. You feel me? You know me. I come through. I support you, man. You're doing something, man. You come across the radar, I'm gonna come support you, man. You know what I mean? And that's just me. Whether I got 1,000 subscribers, no subscribers, 2 subscribers, or 1 million, I'm gonna still come through and rock with you. If you're a creator and I like what you're doing, I'm gonna come through there and I'm gonna come see you, and I'm gonna try to put some money in your hand some kind of way. When you get to a certain level, just keep it the same way. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, we all got our own thing we have to do, but it doesn't mean nothing. You see a lot of these bigger creators, they made a lane for themselves where they can sit there in chaos and interview each other into eternity and still make millions of dollars. Just interviewing each other. Need I name some of these interviews that's getting millions and millions of views? Just interviewing each other. Imagine how big you have to be to work just an interview of you. Like I come to your channel and interview with you, and then we getting just millions and millions of views. Imagine how much power that has, and we do have that power, but a lot of times where the stuff ends up at is it's a beef behind it. So, wherever we gain, right? We also is someone else that's a target of our, attack. And then that's usually a person that looks like us. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, and all of the killing and the drill music and all of the gangster rap, can you name me the song where we go out and, instead of us killing niggas, excuse my language, or on the music, you know what I'm saying? Kill a op, kill a nigga. How many songs have you heard of niggas make a song where it say kill the KKK?
I don't know if that exists, to be honest with you.
I've never heard it. I heard Crips and Bloods banging on wax. Volumes of that shit, 30 volumes. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Here, drill music, 24 ops down, 20. Every time they kill an op, they put another song on YouTube and they allow it. And it's monetized. Might I add? Yeah. I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, that's the premise. Once you sell your actual, I can't say so, but when you sell yourself just to make a paper, you do anything that someone tells you to do and you go about it. That's a choice at the end, but it goes back to the notion of this stream and even the swoosh part. You got to remove the slave mentality psychologically, spiritually, even and go as far as epigenetically as well, because you will not compromise yourself if you start doing the simple work of always remind yourself and doing the necessary action to carry out, so you don't move and think the opposite that is detrimental to the so-called collective of Black folks. Overall, I think it can be accomplished. There are only going to be a few people that will themselves and take action to revert that. I think the whole other population of Black folks will never do so. And the reason why I say is because it is more than work. Black folks have not come to a decision enough that's saying me as a person, going to do what's necessary to change the outcome within my own life. And it starts within what I think, what I consume, and what I do, and what it is spiritually I
Well, that's important because what you consume, you just said that. So the media, right? What do the most of our people consume? I mean, think about it. The
Well, for me
people
right now is the way right now that people are getting not only information but intimate as we know it. And much as people don't want to admit it, this is where it's at now, social media. And one of the top platforms that people get their information now is either by the YouTube or I could say TikTok. And I would say is with clear conscience, that's where they're getting their information now.
Of course, then they are, and that's what they were afraid of because they seen that social media. That's why they call it social media. And I said the word media because that's what I was meaning when I say the media. Most of our people get our news from the media. So when social media people got into the business of creating news and promoting news, if we're just sitting here in our echo chamber of the news and what they force down our throat. Now, remember, we have discernment, Chaos. Now, we call, Gen A, we call it millennials, but most millennials, that have any sense that ain't been totally destroyed in their mind, have some type of discernment. So they can look at a news story, know that that's a lie, because they can see it physically outside when they walk outside and know that that's a lie. But, a lot of people, like you said, they don't want to get on their own foot with it and work with these type of things. Yeah, we have to do these type of things. Yeah, we might have to work together because we're going to have to support each other. We won't have the support of some of the daddy government that supports a lot of these things while we can't get everybody in line because everybody worried about what daddy government say he gonna give to us. So, ain't necessarily not necessarily, I don't want to go on the gender specific part of that, but in our race, but we know what it is. So, if they cut the Section 8 off and they cut the stamps off, they threaten it, or they just say, hey, well, you know what, we're going to keep giving you food stamps and we're going to keep giving you housing, just keep that brother up out the house. And, we're going to keep on giving it to you. So there's a staunch part of our electorate that will always vote for those people who say that they have their best interest in mind. Never mind knowing that even when the other people in that, you didn't ever get no problems with your stuff. You're still getting your money. But no, it's all a show. That's why you got people like Roland Martin. That's why you got people like the other dude, Mr. Rashad Ritchie, Van Jones, Don Lemon, Whoopi Goldberg. That's why you had these people that sit up there, Sonny Hostin, you know what I'm saying? All these people that get up there talking this blackity black while they making, $50, $70, $500,000 a show to sit there and lie to you. Well, they're straight. We sitting here dealing with this economy. When you go to the grocery store, your prices ain't getting lower, but they'll tell you when the economy is better under Joe Biden. Okay, you got more money. They'll sit there and say that, and you being paid to tell me this, but we can see between it. But the older people, Chaos, they watch these shows, they actually believe it. So a lot of them, they'll never ever get to the point where they actually listen to a podcast where we're actually speaking on something real. That's like, hey, maybe we need to change some of this stuff. They get stuck on that media, and the rest of them on the social media. Well, we can get half of them that really discernment, but then if the algorithm feeding them the opposite version, you see what I'm saying? That's why they took over that, because now you can't say what you want to say on the YouTube. They striking you down, they taking you down if you say anything against them. So you know what I'm saying? It's a perfect
Shatter.
form.
All right, Shatter. All right. I'm probably gonna call this a day, I think I put in a good lengthy of the stream. Any last words?
Only thing I can say, brother, to fix the problem, like I said, there's a way always to go against it, and there is hope. The hope is the fact that we sitting here talking about it now, and then guess what? We actually coming up with some solutions. Guess what, brother? We can work together, and we can overcome some of that, because guess what? The main thing that overcomes all of the algorithmic Olympic games that they playing with this stuff, with the AI and everything that they're doing now, the only thing that beats that, brother, is consistency and then working together. Because after you do that for so long, bro, you know what I'm saying? They can't never, come against the nucleus of the original people that's still coming down. They don't take the black pill of going against each other constantly when it's so easy to make that content to go against each other. Okay, we don't go against that by putting out something positive. Hey, you know what? We got something we finna do a giveaway today, man. We're gonna do this. Hey, man, who's got, today, let's do a section on getting some money, how you can make a hustle. You know what I'm saying? A 30-day hustle, get your money on. You know what I mean? These type of things like that. If we put out some stuff like that, guess what? Everybody will start working with us too if they round for some money. And, that's the better part of it like that. We can actually work to get something going. So I appreciate what you're doing, bro. You know what I'm saying? I think that's part of it. So, I'm down with it, man. I appreciate you having me up, man. And shit, keep on doing what you're doing, bro. You know what I mean?
All right. Thank you again, Shai, for coming up. I appreciate it. And for those people, I hope this was pretty stimulating, helpful. Oh, I forgot one thing I do want to say. In regards to the future of Black folks, I see, and we already see now, but I will see more than it might be accelerated. I will see that Black folks that were here indigenously, that's Black Americans, ADOS, whatever, they're going to be amalgamated more and more in the society. Well, not only they import more non-Black people, mostly whites, Hispanics, Arabs, or etc., but the whole premise is to start blending into the melting pot of America to make it more of a more mixing pot, if you want to say it, which is going to be mostly white eventually, but in a couple more decades, as you know, most people that's Americans are not really having children like that. The people that's having children now that's more than 3 are people that are either Arabs, we could say some Asians, depending on the Asians, and we could say people that are Hispanic descent, that are having more children than regular Americans, white and now Black. I mean, there's somewhat data talking about now when it comes to Black folks, men and women, especially Black women that might have less children now or might not have no children now by the end of this decade. And that's what's floating around right now. But I'll tell you one thing that's floating around, that's really floating around, if they're not having children in Black folks, Black men, Black women, they're damn sure having children with other groups of people. We all know that, let's say Black men is having children that's not with Black women. Okay. They have children with other women, most likely women that are mostly white looking, that has a booty. Let's keep it real. I'm just keeping it real out. And the sisters, they have children already with non-Black men, mostly usually European men as the number one choice. And second, that is probably maybe Hispanic, and other ones are Asian and Arabs. They fall more down the total of the hierarchy. But nonetheless, Black folks are going to be mixed in more. And people think this is a good thing. I don't think it's anything good thing, because if you're not in control, why are you mixing in? Usually the premise of mixing in is to be in control, where you are more of a representation and reflection of the society. And the society said that we would try and get rid of the race factor, so we don't pay people, but we're only going to pay a certain group of people when we deem as worthy pay into the American social order. You're not doing nothing at all. I think Black folks, they are trying to rid themselves genetically of Black hair, skin, and even the skin tone, especially, to hope to be more comfortable and accepted in the society. I mean, you could accomplish that, but the problem is when you look at the quality of people that Black people get, they are very subpar people. These people that not even their own group will take on the average. And how I know, you could look outside and look at the mates that most Black people pick, especially women. I mean, I see videos right now of one chick that was to be the breadwinner working while her Asian, I guess, boyfriend, or I don't know if it's a husband, who knows what is at home being a dad. I find that very ironic. And that's only one example. I'm not gonna get into the other celebrity that is about to expect some children by her I guess white husband. Not sure how long that relationship is gonna last. Cause if she is the breadwinner, which most of them are, from what I'm noticing now, and I'm noticing very heavy, there's not really a such thing as a soft life. Now, for the men, I can't speak for the men because what the men pick, depending if where they are mentally, spiritually, if this woman's not on your program, she's definitely on your program. And unfortunately, with most Black males today, most have been groomed and raised by only one parent to worship women or worship a certain set of women. So the future is very slim as I see it. But nonetheless, what do I know? I'm just giving my perspective. I would say Americans, especially Black people, there will be mixed in, and as time progresses, there's gonna probably much less few of us that's actually Black if we're not careful. But that's solely Black people's decision. Anyhow, that is it for the stream. I hope you guys leave a comment, your thoughts, opinions, if you made it this far. Which, most likely when I look at most content done on the Zero Inch channel, I don't think most people watch these videos through its entirety. But if they do, I would like some good criticism. Respectful, if anything, but fair criticism of what has been said. On that, make sure you subscribe to the Zero Inch channel. And when I mean subscribe, hit the top bell, not any other bell, for notification when there's uploads, live streams. There might be more uploads on this channel than live streams, but I'm still figuring that out. So make sure you're subscribed top to the channel. And also, you can also follow me on TikTok as well. Zero Ends on TikTok as well. That's it. Oh, and I forgot one of it. I also got True Social. Where is it? I might have to put that in one day. I'll put it in the description. But stay tuned. On that, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care and good night.